there, my fellow miners and crafters. GoodTimesWithScar here, and welcome back to Hermit Quest, the making of it. We're here on the build world. Behind us is, of course, the enchanted castle that we worked on for months, and it is finally time to tour the castle and hopefully inspire you and take a look at all the details that we created together. And if you're unfamiliar, Hermit Wars was the first in this iteration of taking UHCs to the extreme, dreamed up by that wonderful Iskall. And once again, he has allowed us to come on here and build something for the next map, which we are super grateful for, and we hope we did him proud with this build. And down below we have all sorts of little details, trees and pathways, and of course our big old castle and enchanting room. So without further ado, let's get a tour. I cannot wait to show you this project. I worked countless hours on and off of camera working on this, and I'm very, very proud of it. So if you've enjoyed this, or if you enjoyed seeing the build for the first time today, definitely scarify that like button and check out the rest of the builders. Down in the description, you'll find the other people who worked so hard on this map, building their amazing things. So I don't want to spoil any of those today, but I want you guys to check them out in the description of the video, and let's get into it. So of course, this is the enchanting castle within the map. So opening up the map here, well, hold on, there's flying people around. There we go. So here we are, right there. So this is, of course, the enchanting castle. Over here we have Augie's wonderland of awesomeness. We have Jeffy Jeff's build here, and down over here, that of course is Holden's tower, and of course Iskall's build over here, looking absolutely fantastic. There are so many cool things on this world. I can't even go into all the detail because I don't want to spoil it, but this is our build here, and the inhabitants of this castle are magic. This is where players will be able to go to and get enchants on their tools and armor and different things along those lines. The people here harness their energy from crystals. You'll see crystals dotted around the landscape around, and that is where they get their power from. So as you can see, there is a pathway that leads up to the actual castle. I'm very proud of this thing because I really feel it conveys a great feeling. As you get higher and higher up the castle, you'll notice it gets steeper and steeper. When you look back, you're like, whoa, I'm so high up. I think it came out pretty cool, and it looks like the inhabitants of the castle have kind of parted the dirt and then carved their way through the bedrock, and I think that came out really nice. And we just got lots and lots of beautiful custom landscape. Oh wow, that's my inventory. You guys don't need to see my inventory. And of course over here we've got crystals and trees and pathways and all sorts of little things, but I know what you guys want to see. You want to see the interior. So let's follow the pathway up to the interior. So let's start our journey right here. And of course, all this little detail here is classic Scar pathways, way too much detail here and there. And of course, hidden lights under the carpeting. And like I mentioned briefly there, the inhabitants of this castle, they're magic, and they harness their energy from crystals. So we're finally able to take crystal caves to the next level using mods and of course world edit in this build. And I cannot wait for you guys to see the crystal cave. We first made our first crystal cave back in 2014, and we've really taken it to the next level with this project. Now over here, we've got a really steep pathway. Look at this. It just gets steeper and steeper and steeper as you head up, and look at how foreboding the castle looks right here. This came out really cool, and then when you look back, you see how far you've come. Now one just small little details here and there you can find is this is just kind of a dried waterfall bed right here, which I think is really cool. Now zipping around the corner, this of course is our secret entrance. There are no secrets I'm hiding from you guys. For everybody's gonna play this, I'm giving away all the secrets of the castle, so I don't have any knowledge that you don't have. Now this is the only other entrance besides the main entrance here, so you can kind of sneak your way through this broken up area. We'll show more of that in a little bit, but let's actually head through the gates of the castle and take a look at the courtyard. So heading inside, we've got some swords embedded in crystal on the sides, and we'll see more of that later on. Now heading up here, we have a beautiful courtyard, lots of foliage. We've got a little fountain, we've got a well, and lots of little details here and there. Very subtle flowers, just a little bit of flowers here. This is a very welcoming castle. This is not an evil castle. This is not very protective people. They're very kind of open around here, which is nice, but they do have castle walls because there are a lot of rapscallions about in this world. So they do have to be on the lookout for any shenanigans, but it's generally very open. That's where the gates are open, different things along those lines. Lots of cool little places for potential ambushes. That's something that was really fun about this entire project, was thinking in terms of how players will interact and fight and different things along those lines within the actual wall. And it's something you don't always think about when you're building, say, in Scarland or Hermitcraft or something along those lines, is you don't think in that term, but that was what was so fun for me and so different about this build. Anyway, notice the little crystals right here, and they cast off light, which is a definite bonus. Now, heading in here, you'll notice this is just a passageway with faux doors that lead off to nowhere, but you don't know that as you're cruising through here. You might use your imagination, kind of thinking, ooh, I wonder what's behind that door. At least I used to at Disneyland. When I'd see fake doors here and there, I'd think, oh, I wonder what's in the back there. Nowadays, I know it's like nothing or like a machine or something, but when you're like a kid, you think of that. You're like, oh man, I wonder what kind of crazy things behind that door. Anyway, this is the secret entrance. It comes up this little broken pathway into this little storage room down here. It's just little extra details here and there. And let's work our way through this flanking route. So this is the right-hand side flanking route from the back of the castle. Now, these are just little details built within the walls of the castle, extra doors, and this one is open. So this one is open into the knight's quarters. So within this room is the knight's room where they've got their shields and their armors and different things along those lines set up. So I think this came out really cool, and remember, it's just giving off the impressions that this is a very old. That's why you can see the crumbling walls, but it's also lived in. That's why there's beds and merchants up top we'll show in just a moment. But that's what I'm just trying to convey. This is very, very old, but still lived in. Now, heading in here, you can see this is that continued flank route all the way back to the back of the castle. And this opens up into the king's quarters. So this is kind of the lower area of where the king lives. This is a little passage going between the areas. This is another closed door, and this leads out to the backyard area. Not really backyard, but behind the castle, opening up to another transition area. If I had more time to work on this, there would have been another flanking route here, but I never quite got to that. But let's head up here. Oh, one point is there's nothing technically down here, but I wanted to give the impression that these staircases continue on. So there's like a little hatch, and there's actually there's no way of going down there, but it just gets dark. And remember, giving off that impression that there are much, much more down below. And moving in here, this is the king's war room. So we have a round table here. So I think that's looking super sweet. And we have maps of all the different kingdoms. So on the left-hand side, that of course is where we are right now. That is the Enchanting Castle. To our right-hand side, that is Augie's kingdom, which is just mind-bogglingly awesome. Now heading down over here, we've got Iskol's Augurer. No, what's the things with the horns? They're scary. They usually have like tusks. Ogres, there we go. That is the ogre kingdom. Look at that. They're just tearing the land apart. Oh, it's just, oh man, you guys, when you see that, I can't even put it into words. And then of course this, oh no, what have I done? Oh no, what have I done? Oh, this is so bad. Red alert, Mr. Wolf, shields up, red alert. I've done bad things. Oh shoot, I'm gonna fix that later, but I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Jeffy Jeff. I've destroyed Jeffy Jeff's kingdom here. I'm so sorry. Hashtag Scarfail. Oh no. Hashtag Scarfail for sure. Oh man, oh, that was so bad. Anyway, let's try to just move on here. Hashtag Scarfail. This is Holden's potion tower, right? What I love about this thing is it's got this impression that it's got like a, think of the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland. When you look at that, clearly the ride is not built into it, but you go into there and then you go off on your ride, but the actual ride mechanism, all that stuff takes place behind the actual facade. So it's just like a facade that you go into, but gives off the impression that you're entering a mansion. This is totally what he's got going on there, and I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite things on the server. Now heading up here, this is something that actually Augie gave me the inspiration for, and this is the magical library of forbidden objects. So think think of it like Harry Potter, where they have the forbidden library. This is our forbidden magical objects within the kind of the community of the castle here. So as you can see, there are some display pieces. So there's little notes and necklaces and flutes. And what is this, like a moldy Iscalian potato, maybe? I don't know. And a severed ear and a little tiki idol. Kind of amazing. And also up here you can get really cool perspectives of other players. Pro tip right there. We'll see more of that in a little bit. A little coin and envelopes and a little like scroll or something along those lines. Yeah, look at that. See what I'm talking about? It's a kind of amazing. Now the most forbidden of objects within this land is birch wood, birch logs, and diorite, and you got a little Escalium coming up. So that's just like a little homage to Iskall, who created this whole thing. So it's a little Easter egg for him, hid it away in the Forbidden Magical Library. So yeah, I think this came out really cool. It's just a fun little detail that you can discover as you work your way through the maze of this castle. And this is the king's desk. You know, this is his study. This is where, you know, he makes his decisions and different things like that. And he can come out here and talk in front of his people on top of his boat. That's right. Does that not look like a boat to you? Does it look like a boat? In the comments, like yes or no. Does that look like a boat? It kind of looks like a boat to me, but that's okay. I think it still can work. And you got, this is the entrance we showed earlier down below there. And let's head back up here, moving into where a king would go to eat. That's right, the king's banquet hall in here. So, you know, you got a roaring fire. I love using the netherrack as kind of a backdrop to that. I think that looks really cool, or nether brick. And of course, a little statuary there. But leading up here, this is where the king lays his head at night. And of course, he's got his bed right there. Got some tables and chairs. Another roaring fireplace right there, looking super sweet. That's a fancy bed right there. That's one wealthy king. So this is what I was talking about before. This is such a great perspective of the castle. Now you're getting an advantage of being able to see throughout the entire market, the walkways and different things along those lines. And the disadvantage of this is you're trapped, right? You're trapped up here. You can be attacked at any moment from down below. So it's a bit of a gamble. You can keep an eye on things. Maybe you could even create an ambush of yourself from up here, but there always is that disadvantage that somebody could wait for you at the end of the staircase, and you can see out to other kingdoms from here. So it's definitely an advantage to head up here and kind of look out and around. But let's head back down here, and I know what you guys have been waiting for, to see the actual magical, you know, cave, and we're going to take a look at that in just a minute. But let's head back down here and take a look at the market. So this is the market area. So this is a place for vendors to sell their wares. So we have our bookcases here, so you can cruise the crowded market and bustling business around and see the different, you know, stands here and there. There's supposed to be some armor stands, like this one over here. This is books, right? It's got its books. Over here, it's supposed to have a bunch of armor stands, but I think they accidentally got deleted when the great entity delete crisis happened. So I got to replace those. And then over here, of course, this used to have a bunch of kind of like armor or swords and things, and I got to replace those also. These are little staircases that of course lead back up to the actual platform. What I love about this little room is it just brings you back up to the actual tower walls, and I love this little room. This was so hard to make. I can't tell you how hard this was to line this pathway up so it looks aesthetically pleasing and still kind of have a staircase that leads down and then goes straight back into here. Remember, this is the little hallway that we walk through heading up into the king's quarters. So I don't know why this was the most complicated thing of the entire build, was this huge tower right there. And then of course, remember, we went through here just a moment ago and we've got some beautiful colored swords on the walls. I really, really love those. And that is the main part of the castle through the back. Now, the greatest part of all is coming up, and that is the crystal cave. And like I said, I built a lot of crystal caves in my time in Minecraft, and I really think we finally have taken it to the next level with this particular one. So heading into this big wide open doorway here, and if you remember from my previous episodes of building here, this has changed greatly, which allows us to have access to the upper level here, whereas originally this walkway was actually cut in half. I've expanded out the entrance to allow for that extra space. Now heading in here, as you can see, these are just some little enchanting books and some crystals on the floor, because this leads to the crystal cave. That is right. So down this spiraling staircase, you'll notice the walls. Something to keep in mind here. The walls are fairly well kept, right? But the farther we go down, see, they're starting to crumble away. And these are just little things I like to throw in here. As the farther you get down, things just start to become a little bit more rugged, a little bit more rustic. You've got crumbling away rock down into the actual pathway. And then right here, it's given way into a cave, which I think is really cool. You could do like a quick little shortcut across. Maybe you're being chased. Maybe you want to hide in that little cave as you're working your way down. So just little things to think about. And we've made it to the bottom of the spiraling staircase, and this is the way down to the enchanting area. Also, this is just a clever way of kind of ending the staircase and also giving the impression that things used to be down here, or this continues to go on, but it is caved in. So heading on down now. This is very old, and something I wanted to give the impression in this area that this area maybe is older than the actual castle itself. That's why this area is really crumbled away. So we have some natural stones at this level right here, and then kind of man-made stones down below. Also, you can see these giant columns reaching up to the ceiling. These are maybe part of an ancient castle or, you know, ritual chamber, if you will, down below to the crystals. And I really love the ceiling. All of these little details up here were all hand placed. So that's what took so long with this particular thing, is I don't know how to use World Edit to add these little details, you know, all the little blocks here and there. I'm just not good enough with it at this point, but I'm definitely making progress with World Edit. I'm definitely learning as we go through these particular series of Hermit Wars and Hermit Quests, and we've made it to the bottom, and this is it, guys. We're just about ready to go into the Crystal Cave, and you'll notice this big marquee of a structure just signifies that you're about to head into something powerful, something ancient, something that is meaningful. That's why such a great structure was built around the entrance there. And are you guys ready to head into the Crystal Cave? If you are, in the comments, once again, I want to see Crystal Cave. Just type in Crystal Cave if you made it to the end of the video here and you guys are excited to see this. So let's head through the doors here, and you'll notice off to the sides we have some additional books and some knight's armor encased in crystals. But it's time. It's time. Here we go. And look at that amazing structure down below. That is the giant crystal that you'll go down to enchant. There's a spiraling staircase down into this pool. This room was in a way inspired by like the Harry Potter Horcruxes. Is that how you pronounce that? Like the Horcrux? Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it. And you remember the one where they got on the boat and they went off to the island? That's kind of what this was inspired by. And of course, here is the crystals hanging from the ceiling, giving off a beautiful natural light, which I think is really cool. So let's go and explore here. You'll notice some vines and different details back there, and that helps give it a bit of shadow. You know, we've got a lot of highlights with the crystals, we've got a lot of mid-tones of the stone, and of course these vines kind of add that extra little layer of shadow, so it kind of covers all of the different layers of shadow. So I think that's looking really cool. Leading down here, you could really see how this spiral staircase heads downwards into the bottom, and I think that looks really cool. And remember how we're talking about how we have to figure a way of making this so that players can interact with it. Now, the disadvantage of coming down here is you're trapped. There is one way down here. There's no other way out. And it's a gamble, really. If you're gonna go after level 30 enchants, you gotta take the risk of potentially being ambushed by other players. So it's just something to keep in mind. Now right here, it's kind of crumbled away, and you can kind of walk down here into the water and then up into here where they've kind of broken the crystal away, and you can dip down into it and start your enchanting over here. So isn't this cool? You can see how the crystal was broken out so they could access it. And hopefully once we start adding the loot chests in the area, we can add a whole bunch of loot chests down here, because like I said, this is gonna be dangerous. There's gonna be mobs. There's gonna be players with bow and arrows up at the top there shooting down. Oh, it's gonna be incredible. Can you just feel it? Like if you're up here, your heart is racing as you're trying to get yourself enchants, and you hear the sounds of players coming from the top. Bows and strings are going off. Oh, it sounds amazing. I cannot wait for Hermit Quest. So yeah, this is the Enchanting chamber. I worked very hard on this. This took weeks to build, but I'm very proud of it, and I think it came out really cool. And I really hope it's enough, right? I hope it's enough. The other, structures, builds, and things that were created on the server are absolutely mind-numbingly awesome. And I hope mine is some very small bit worthy enough to be on the server amongst all the awesome stuff that everyone has created here. But yeah, that is the enchanting chamber. I'm very pleased with it, and I hope you guys are too, because of course in the end this was made for you guys to enjoy and to take a look at and hopefully be inspired by it to go and create your own marvelous structures and different details along those lines. But let's head up to the top now and take a look at the exterior castle, because we haven't quite taken a look at that, so let's do that now. Welcome to the top once again, and looking out over the castle, we can get a little bit of a bigger perspective of it a little bit. We can swoop around the side, and one thing I really wanted to create with this particular castle is it looks like it's kind of built from the rock. So why don't we zoom in on this little piece right here. Hello there, chicken. You kind of throw the whole build off of that chicken. It's just, that thing looks too silly down there. Anyway, so you can see this kind of peninsula of a rock, right? It just looks like this tower kind of emulates from it. And I think that's kind of like the main part, is it just kind of give off the impression that it was just carved from the rock beneath it. That's what I wanted to achieve. Have I got to build everything I wanted to here? Not quite. I wanted to do a crystal harvesting mines and different things like that. I never quite got to that. And maybe that could be like a Hermitcraft base in the future, season 7, season 6, but I never quite was able to get to it. I love this little spot. This is a trail that leads down into Stress Monster's underground regions, where she's created these just absolutely amazing caves to explore, and there's creatures down there. It's gonna be, oh wow, it's gonna be so cool down there. Very scary, by the way, not for the faint of heart. And then of course, this is another one where I was talking about how the tower looks like it's just kind of built into the rock beneath it. Not just that the castle was built on top of something, but it was all built together. So I think that looks really, really cool. And that's something that I always strive for with builds, is I want the whole build to feel like it lives there, almost that it just grew right out of the ground and not just plopped right onto the ground and just looks like some man-made structure. I love to give it that organic nature to it, just to give it a little bit more detail. And that's it from the top, looking super sweet, very organic lines. And there we go, guys. I very, very much hope you've enjoyed this series and of course this tour today, and hopefully it inspired you. That is the main purpose of this whole thing, is to just have fun together, to inspire, to create something amazing. And yeah, I cannot wait to be able to play on this game, and eventually you guys will too. And until next time, this has been Good Times with Scar, and I always really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch my videos. And if you believe the videos deserve a rating, that would be much appreciated. Huge thank you to Iskall for allowing me to be a part of the build team once again. So can we get some hype for Iskall? Let's get some big thank yous for Iskall in the chat. Huge thank you to Iskall once again, and the whole build team for allowing me to be with you guys. And until next time, we'll see you later.